What's up, everybody? I'm Zanny Cakes, and we are officially on the Project Diablo 2 open beta. And in this video, we're going to take a look at the Necromancer skill tree and talk about some of the builds that might be pretty good. So I'm going to be doing a video on each of the classes and get them out before Friday. That way you guys have all the information you need to help you make a decision on what you're going to use as your season starter. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the Necromancer skill tree. So in summoning spells, we have Raised Skeletal Warrior. That's pretty standard. It gets synergy bonuses from Skeletal Mage and Skeletal Mastery. The Skeleton Mastery gives it 8% damage per level on this tooltip, and then a flat 2 damage per level in Skeleton Mastery. It also increases their move speed and their life. It increases the Mage move speed, life, and damage. The Skeletal Mages do all 4 elemental damage types, and they gain bonus damage from Raised Skeleton Warrior, and then get the bonuses from Skeleton Mastery. And then we have the Revives, which revives a corpse and gives it bonus damage. So moving on to the Golems, we've got Clay Golem. It slows the enemy, gains bonuses from Golem Mastery and all of the other Golems, as well as Raised Skeletal Mage. The Golem Mastery, it increases life, attacks rating, and then run walk speed. And then the cool thing about this skill is you can summon 1 extra Golem every 5 base levels. So if you max this out, you can have a total of 5 Golems out at one time. You could have 1 of each of them and then 2 fire golems, or 5 fire golems if you want. If you want to never die ever, you could just summon 5 blood golems. They give life on hit and they leech for you. So every time they hit something and deal damage, you get healed. They get synergies from the Golem Mastery as well as the other 3 golems. Here we have Blood Warp. It instantly moves to a destination at the cost of a percentage of your max hit points. So it's basically teleport that costs you life instead of mana. I don't know if the cost of life goes down as you put points into it. I did hear Senpai say that if you put enough points into it, you actually get the teleport cooldown reduced down to 0, so there will be no cooldown on it. If the hit point cost doesn't actually go down, then that kind of sucks because you can only cast it 8 times unless you're healing. But either way, I'm interested to see how that turns out. It's nice to see that there's another class other than Sorceress that will be able to teleport without any cooldown. And then we've got the Iron Golem. It gives you thorns, so it reflects damage that it takes, and then gains masteries from Golem Mastery and the other 3 golems. It also gets the properties of the item that you make it out of. So if you make it out of an insight, it will give you the meditation aura. And, it will get any sort of enhanced damage or enhanced defense that the item has. And overall, you can make some extremely beefy iron golems. One thing that I heard on the Discord, I have not confirmed this, if you have multiple iron golems summoned, when you leave a game, only one of them sticks around. So you definitely want to be careful. You don't want to be making 5 iron golems that have, infinity and fanaticism, or making them out of infinity and then get them fanaticism from beast, or, holy freeze from doom or something like that. You kind of probably want to stick to just 1 iron golem, and because the other 4 of them, if you summon all 5 iron golems, would actually 4 of them will disappear. And then last but not least, we have the fire golem. It does a huge amount of fire damage. It absorbs fire damage, has the holy fire aura. It does fire damage in an AoE around it every couple seconds, and then it also gets synergy bonuses from Golem Mastery and the other 3 golems. So I think that overall, summon builds will be really strong. You can go a full 100 points into golems and just run around with 5 really beefy golems. Another build that I think would be very strong, is doing a hybrid where you max out just one golem, like your fire golem, and then do the mastery and skeletal warriors and summon mastery. But there's definitely different options as far as a full necro summoning skills build goes. Moving on to poison and bone, going down the poison side, we have poison dagger. It gives you pierce and then adds damage to poison damage to your attack. You get synergies from Desecrate and Poison Nova. Those are pretty huge synergies, so I would imagine it ends up doing a lot of damage at endgame. They changed how Corpse Explosion works. That does a less amount of the corpse's life, but then adds a flat amount of fire and physical damage. That gets synergies from Amplify Damage, Desecrate, and Revive. So that would be a very strong build to max out those 4 skills, as you'll get the bonus damage from Amplify Damage. You can make your own corpses and also do poison damage with Desecrate, and then you'll have a little meat shield army with Revive. I think that that will overall be a very strong setup and do a lot of AoE damage. We've got Desecrate, summons corpses and releases a deadly cloud of poison. It gets damage synergies from Poison Dagger and Poison Nova. If you're familiar with Desecrate in the Path of Diablo, this looks like it would be very similar to that. And we have Poison Nova. It does a large amount of poison damage over 2 seconds, and then increases the damage from Poison Dagger and Poison Explosion. I would imagine that Poison Explosion was just a tooltip that has not been updated yet, and it actually means Desecrate. In Diablo 2 Vanilla, Desecrate is actually called Poison. It's like a poison damage corpse explosion that requires corpses. So I'd imagine that they simply just did not update the tooltip to say Desecrate. Looking at the bone skills, we've got Teeth. That does the same thing. You shoot out a barrage of barbed teeth. I'm interested to see how much damage Teeth can do at the end game, as you get 25% damage per synergy, and it's got 3 synergies, so you can actually increase the base damage of Teeth by 1500%. So that might actually be something worth using endgame, but only time will tell there. Got Bone Armor. It absorbs damage. You get bonus damage absorbed from Bone Wall and Bone Prison. Bone Wall creates a impassable barrier that gets bonus life from Bone Armor and Bone Prison. And then Bone Prison creates a barrier of fossilized bone around your target that gets bonus life from Bone Armor and Bone Wall. We have Bone Spear, summons deadly spikes of bone to impale your enemies. It fires an additional Bone Spear at levels 15 and 25, so you can have up to 3 of them. And then gets damage synergies from from Teeth, Bone Spirit, and Bone Armor. I think that that will be a very strong build. It'll be a very good season starter build, as magic damage is very strong. There's very few things that are actually immune to it, and very few things that even have resistances to it. And overall, I think that that will be a very good starter build to go with. And then we have Bone Spirit, release a spirit of the restless undead that tracks its target and finds one of its own, or finds one of its own. It gets damage synergies from Teeth, Bone Spear, and Bone Armor. So if you watched my video on the 30 items that are worth using, I mentioned that the brand Necromancer that uses Beast to turn into bear form is one of my favorite builds. In Project Diablo 2, the brand rune word will allow you to fire 2 additional bone spears. So if that stacks with the 2 additional bone spears you get from having it at level 25, then you would actually shoot out 5 bone spears if you have brand and are attacking with it. And then you can put points into Teeth, Bone Spirit, and Bone Armor to synergize the bone spear that you shoot every time that you attack something. And I think overall that will be an extremely strong build, and it's one that I'm going to definitely be trying out as soon as I can afford to make a brand rune word. Moving on to curses, we have a new skill here, which is Curse Mastery. With 20 hard points into it, it will allow you to put 3 curses on one enemy, so you can mix and match whatever 3 curses you want. That works very well with Dark Pact, which is another new skill. It consumes the curses on enemies within an area, sealing a Dark Pact and dealing damage around the enemy for each curse devoured. It gains bonuses from Curse Mastery, it increases its damage and radius, and then every point that you have in any curse at all will increase the magic damage by 6%. So I'm interested to see how this build works out. I think it will be very strong as it's a magic damage build, and then it will have probably a very large radius and do a high amount of AoE magic damage. Overall, I'm very excited about that. So as far as the actual curses go, we have Amplify Damage. It increases the non-magic damage that enemies receive. It goes up by 2% per base level. And then your Curse Mastery also grants an additional 1% reduced physical resistance per level and increases the radius. Dim Vision will curse a group of monsters, reducing their vision radius and attack rating. Curse Mastery gives you additional reduced attack rating per level. Terror curses a group of enemy monsters, causing them to flee in fear. It reduces their movement speed, and then you gain additional movement speed reduction from Curse Mastery. We have Life Tap. Life Tap will curse a group of monsters so that damaging them gives the attacker life. The lifesteal percentage goes up by each point per base level, and then Curse Mastery increases that as well as the radius. We have Iron Maiden, curse a group of enemies, causing them to damage themselves when damaging others. So 200% damage returned at level 1, and then Curse Mastery increases that damage returned and the radius. Weaken will curse a group of enemies, reducing the amount of damage that they do. It's a 10% damage reduction at level 1. You get additional damage reduced every 2 levels of Curse Mastery, as well as radius every 3 levels. Confuse will curse a monster to force it to attack random targets. It increases the attack speed by 3% per base level, and then you get additional attack speed bonus from Curse Mastery. So basically, you curse something and it attacks its buddies and does it much faster than it normally would. We have Attract, curses a monster to become the target of all nearby monsters. This curse may not be overridden by another curse. It reduces the target's defense, and then you gain additional reduced enemy defense by points in Curse Mastery. We have Decryptify, which they modified. Decryptify will reduce their movement speed, attack rate, and cast rate, and it increases by 1% per base level, as well as you get an additional 1% reduced attack and cast rate per base level of Curse Mastery, and then Curse Mastery will also increase its radius. So Decryptify no longer reduces the enemy physical damage resistances, so it will no longer break physical immune monsters. For that, you'll have to use Amplify Damage. But then again, with the Curse Mastery, you can mix and match. The Decryptify is now specifically for slowing things down. We've got Lower Resistance. It curses an enemy, reducing their resistances. You can break immunities with this if it's high enough level. It increases the resistance reduction by 2% per base level, and then Curse Mastery also increases that resistance reduction and gives it more radius. So overall, I think that the Necromancer will have some very strong builds. It's got a really fun toolkit. I'm excited to see how the Curse Mastery and Dark Pact builds work. I think that will be a very strong build. I think the Corpse Explosion build will be extremely strong. I think Bone will be a extremely strong build. That will be a very good season starter. Poison builds will be very strong, and then I also think that there's going to be several different summon builds that will also be very viable. One thing that I would like to say was with the skeletons, it doesn't say it in the tooltip, but they do have a little bit of splash. I do not know if the golems have splash, but the skeletal warriors do. Overall, I think the Necromancer will be a very fun class to play. It looks like there's several different builds for each tree, and overall, I think that they will be a very strong character and be very valuable in group play as well as do very well in solo play. So let me know if you guys are planning on using a Necromancer as your season starter. And with that, good luck, have fun, and hope to see you out there.